We continue with the last few things to work on our model, on our rig. One of them is the generating some limits to some things. For example, the jaw, I don't want it to be possible to break like that. So in order to do that, you simply need to open up the attribute editor for the controller, open up the transform node for it, and look under the limit information, knowing that I don't want it to go beyond certain value. I'm gonna say 50. So the maximum value, I'm gonna just type 50 there. I'm gonna just pass the number here and then check it on, and then I'm gonna bring it down to the minimum, which would be kind of like a closing her mouth, which is minus -3. So I'm just pass -3 on this side. No, I didn't take it. I'm just doing it here manually, -3. So that way I have the mouth stopping there. You could try also limiting it on the Y and the Z, only that there are some little challenges with that. By doing that, you start generating some um, performance of the jaw. You could try doing it. Let's see, for example, if you do probably not this one because this one is not possible, but it's more this one that you want to do. Say, for example, do it on 12 positive in this direction, pass it that way, check it on, and then do -12, pass it to the side and check it on. And that way I won't, let's see if I can do that. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta just put -12 here. There we go. So now I can have her do that, or I can have her do this, and just put it back at 0 in both. And now I want to make sure that probably the rotation in Z, which is this one, you may want to keep it there if you want to, but in this case I'm going to use to lock and hide it, so that way I don't need it. Also with the scale, I'm going to lock and hide the scale. That way I have just I'm sorry, let me just double check that. Rotating X and rotating Z. I hit the wrong one. In case of this, you can go back and call the channel control and go and look for the rotation in Y. There it is. Just push it back, and then it comes back here. I'm gonna unlock it because it's still locked, so I'm gonna right click to unlock it, and then we'll just do the right one, which is the Z. Just lock and hide. I can just go do it here to rotate Z, and then just move it in that direction. That way, I need, before I move it, I need to lock it. Let me just lock it here. Right click and lock it, and then I can now move it here. Either way you can do that. So now I can just use that one or use this one and keep it working for me. Other things that I need to lock and hide are, for example, the translate of these controllers. I don't want those. This one I do want to have translate because it will need to give me the shoulder, but this one I need to lock and hide the translate and the scale of it. So lock and hide that one. Same for the elbow. Same for these guys. I want to make sure that I'm going to select them all. Of course, I can select them on both at once, and then just go and lock and hide the translate and the scale. That way none of them have it. And of course you have to do it to the opposite arm. In the case of the IK, you need to do only the scale, because that one needs to rotate and that one needs to translate. Alright, same for these guys. For example, I already did. You need to lock and hide the translate and scale of that one. And this guy probably doesn't need the scale. I don't need to do that. That will kind of break it. So I'm just gonna lock that and hide this selected one there. This guy doesn't need the scale. What else? I don't need any of these guys. I already did the lock and hide for scale and rotate. I just need translate. And these guys I need rotate. I don't. This one needs translate. I already hid the other one, so I deleted or it locked and hid the scale. This one will be only rotation. That one doesn't need to move. So I'm gonna just, because if you move it, you break it. So I'm just gonna grab it, and same with the scale. Pretty much that is that. I know that I have to do the other arm as well. These guys only need translate. It doesn't need actually need rotate, but it doesn't need scale. So I'm gonna look like hide scale. Do the same thing on the other side too. All right, there we go. And the last thing that I need to do here is let's see, for the tongue controls, these guys need to rotate and translate. I'm going to just to lock and hide the scale, so making sure that all of them are there. Going to turn off geometry and turn off joints. Make sure that I click on the right ones. That one I probably can scale it up a little bit more. That is my second. My first tongue control. Let me hide my geometry. There it is. Here is the other one. Alright, these ones we already did. We already also hid all of this stuff. All these guys only need translating Y. We already did those. And these guys here at the bottom only need translate and rotate. They don't need scale. The main controller needs scale, rotate, and translate. You can keep visibility too. Alright, then I'm going to add controllers for the fingers. So let me just do a quick little control from the circle. Just scale it up a little bit, and then move it and snap it to the hand. I'm just gonna bring it up a little bit. Let me highlight, get back to geometry. I'm just gonna scale it down a little bit better. Can be whatever shape you want. You know, if it makes sense to you, something like this will be okay. As long as it is easy for you to select, it's good. I'm gonna pivot that on the join, and then modify freeze transformations, and the pivot point is already corrected. So I need now to create a few attributes for it, and the attributes I'm going to create are, I'm going to add a few attributes. So I'm going to make the first one, I'm going to call the thumb curl. That one is going to be a float of -1 to maximum 10. Add. I'm going to do index curl. Let me just do it on underscore C, capital C, again -1, maximum 10. And then this is going to be middle curl. Same thing. And this is going to be pink ring. Curl. Same values. And then it's going to be pinky curl. I could also have a fist. And I can have a spread. And of course you can add more to your different ones. I'm gonna get rid of all of these guys. I don't need. You can have visibility just in case you want to get rid of it. I'm gonna lock and hide the other ones, and I'm going to just do the set ribbon keys for that. So I'm gonna go under my animation menu, set key, set ribbon key, open it up, load my controller. This guy is going to be called left finger control. And I'm gonna load that one as the driver, and then I'm gonna start working on the let's do the thumb first. So I'm gonna load the 3 joints that generate the thumb. So of course those joints are going to be rotating in that value, which is Y. How do I know? Because red is X, blue is Z, and the other one is Y. So I'm gonna just generate and rotate in Y on those, and that's the default position, so I'm just key that. Then I'm going to bring the thumb curl to 10, and that means that I'm going to rotate these guys. Let me turn on the geometry here. So we get to the point that you can really get the finger bent there. I'm gonna just key that one, go back to this here, bring this one at -1, which is the minimum value, and then of course grab these guys again, and then I just go and open it up a little bit more. It's -1 just to make it a bit more exaggerated, and then key that. So now you see that if you go and test your controller here for the thumb curl, you get both, and you can create individual ones so that you have additional solutions for that. I can do the same thing for the index. So let me try to just select those guys. You need to select just the 3, not the last one, the second to last, third, and then the one for the knuckle load, those are the driven. Same thing, those rotations on those will be by, in this case will be by Z, so let's say rotating Z, and same thing, the main position for the index will be 0, and then I'm going to go and change the index to 10, and then I'm going to go and rotate these guys. Let me just do it here so you can see it, to the point that my finger looks good enough. I can probably generate a set driven a blend shape to puff up the fingers more, but for now that's good. I'm gonna key that. I'm gonna go back and then bring it back to -1, and then I select these guys again, and then I go bring it up a little bit. That is the -1 value that I have. I'll just key that. So now I got on my controller my index doing what it needs to do. So on and so forth. You'll continue doing all the fingers. Let me just do the spread just to show it. So the spread will be making the fingers widen, and for that I'm going to need to load all of the fingers at once. So I'm going to load the driven there, and the rotation for those will be rotation in Y. So I'm going to select them all at once, and the rotation in Y is the one that's going to be treated. So the neutral position, it will be that. So I'm going to key, again it is the spread, so I'm going to key that one, and then so I'm going to go and change the spread to the maximum. So I'm just going to go to 10, and then I'm going to make all of these guys, I'm going to have to go back section by section. I could do this, but that will curve them a little bit too weird. So I could do that, but I'm not sure about it. I'm probably just gonna load this guy and spread it a bit more, and that one maybe a little bit. And then I'm gonna just do this guy, and then this guy on the other direction, to the point that you cannot break it anymore, like this. Maybe this guy just a little bit there. And I'm going to select them all, rotating Y key, and then I go back and change the value to the opposite, which would be spread and -1. And of course for that we need just to bring them closer. You may move some of the other ones too, but just to get them a little bit closer like that. And then I'm just going to just go and create, this is -1, I'm just going to key that. So now I got my spread attribute. If you wanted to add to that the thumb, you perfectly can do it. You simply bring it back to 0 and load the thumb and in this case the thumb, I need to know where I want them to be bringing it. So I'm going to just say, for example, I can try to bend them up and close them in this direction to have it closed, and then I can bring it all the way down to the other side to make the spread part. So for now I'm going to just keep it as a default value is, and I'm just going to select that one with the rotation. I'm gonna do the 3 rotations just to be safe. I'm gonna key that one. Then I'm going to go activate the spread to 10. So that one actually I will need to move these guys, and I'm gonna just move them up like that. Maybe this one is a bit too much. I'm gonna hold that one back and maybe get this guy up a little bit more here, and this one a bit more here. It's a bit exaggerated, but it gives me a good exaggeration. So I'm just gonna key on the maximum that one key, and then I'm gonna bring that one down to -1, and I get these 3 guys. A little bit back and up. You decide how much you want to do it, and then I'm just gonna key those there. So now I have my spread back and forth. If you need to modify, let's say for example, you don't want it, although the spread, you can go to the middle there, and if you need to modify some of the values, what you discover is that the set-driven key, it's an animation curve that is connected to the joints. So let's say for example, if I select on this joint and I call on the graph editor, in the graph editor I get to see the curves for each one of those set-driven keys. You can see the curve on X and Y and Z, and I could perfectly go and modify the curve here. So let's say for example the curve comes to this point, I can just go and modify some of the curves so that, let's say for example, if I wanted to have Z be a little bit less, I can just simply move it so that the midpoint for that one will be different. So now if I test it out here, I can just see how the spread works. Or you can simply just put it at 0 and you are all good for now. Alright, you're going to do the same thing for, of course, the fist and the curl of all the fingers, and of course do the same thing for the other hand. The last thing, after you have done all the setup for all of those, you want to create, you can make a guy, this curve, a child of this joint just by pressing P on your keyboard. I'm sorry, let me do that. Make sure that I hide it correct and show it correctly. You can make it a child of it. Let's see if it'll do it, because I did it and just hit it. I'll do it one more time. It's hiding it, so probably that's not a good idea. So other thing I could do is just simply create a parent constraint from the joint to the object. Just say parent constraint on rotation and translate, and then just add. That way it will do it. Oh, I know what is going on. It's not letting me do it because it's already locked. So I gotta bring back the channel control on translate and rotate. Because they are locked, so it doesn't want to do it. And then I'm just going to do the translate too. There they are, translate X, Y, and Z. And now I'm going to simply unlock those. Now I can create the set-driven key, the parent constraint from the joint to that one. Do a parent constraint. Now we took it. And now I cannot lock them anymore, they're already locked, but I'm going to just simply hide them. That way they are not bugging there. So now wherever the hand goes, the controller will follow. the last thing I need to do is, of course, you need to make sure that those guys make it into those curves, because if you think the curve is outside of it, so I need to make it and bring it into the, let me just open it up here and look for it down here, and I'm gonna make it into the old character group. Middle mouse button, dump it into the old character group. That way it's just back inside of my character, so now there is no problem. My character moves, that should follow along, and I should be able to use it from now on. Alright, do the same for the other arm, and you should be good for now. The very last thing that I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to create a camera for being able to render out the character, work with the character, look at the face when I'm working on the facial expression. So I'm going to just create a camera, and I'm going to look through that camera, and the camera is going to be looking at her face all the time, straight on at her face. And you would make that camera, will change the focal length of the camera to something like 50. That way her facial is not distorted, her proportions are not distorted, and I can just simply make that camera a child. There it is. I can make a camera a child of the hit control. Just press P on your keyboard. That way the camera now will follow the face anywhere it goes. And what I can do with the camera is I can lock and hide all of these guys, so that whoever is going to animate it that cannot move it, and I'm going to name it Facecam. That way the camera Facecam is right there, and you could be animating, like, let's say, using the Facecam in one view while continue animating the perspective view your character a bit more easily, so you have a chance to really work on the different features of your animation. Alright friends, I think this is this part of the video. Good luck with all your setup there.